everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. This is going to be a tricky one, and you're going to see what I mean here in a minute. So put your thinking caps on. I need your help here. This is very, very strange. So some people theorized that the ICE1 acrylic turntable yesterday that sounded kind of thin might have been because I was taking the phono level signal, which wouldn't have the RIAA curve in it, therefore sounding thinner instead of the line input. When I saw those comments, I went into the studio and looked at the back of the unit because I was blindly adjusting things while filming. That's my fault. And sure enough, I was using the phono output, which is wrong. So I set about to make this video. I even filmed a separate intro and outro that I'm not using for obvious reasons. You'll see why. Basically saying, hey, I screwed up. It was my fault. I made a mistake. And let's test it now with the correct line level output. Well, then I came across an even bigger problem. You're not going to want to miss this. So in our video yesterday, we noted that this ICE1 record player, although it looks beautiful, that it didn't sound the best. And some people speculated in the comments about what could be causing that. A few people started mentioning that it sounded like the RIAA curve had been pulled off or not added, something that happens in the phono stage, which would indicate that I was possibly coming out of this with the phono level instead of the line level in which the RIAA curve would have been added. That would have resulted in that thin sound that we heard. I was pretty sure I didn't do that, but I have to admit that while I was busy, filming things, I was reaching back here blindly and adjusting things. So I thought I would, double check. Came in here this morning. Sure enough, it was on the phono level. So that means that's why it was quiet. That's why it sounded thin. So what we're going to do is take advantage of this golden opportunity to test the correct line level output, as well as a couple other things that folks requested we test, including the anti-skate. And while we're at it, we'll compare the built-in preamp to an external preamp. Now, usually a preamp switch has two positions, either phono level or line level. This one has a Bluetooth setting in the middle, which is a strange place to put the Bluetooth setting, but I ended up on the phono level. So none of that RIAA curve EQ was added back in. That's a separate subject for a separate day. What we need to do is set it to line level, which will activate the built-in preamp, and it should be much more full and rich. Okay, we're ready to go here. So we'll be using and testing the internal preamp to begin with. As always, I've got my IFI headphone amplifier back there to dampen the signal, and we're recording into the Zoom H2N digital recorder, and that will be a lossless wave recording. Obviously, YouTube will dumb it down, but that's the setup right there. So without further ado, let's start here. Okay, Houston, we have a problem. Not sure, this is weird. I've never seen anything like this before. And now I know why I did things the way I did yesterday. I was doing it by ear. So I have it set to the line level output, which is the louder line level signal that it sends, which will have the RIAA curve ready to go into your, whatever device, powered speaker, stereo system. But on this turntable, it's very, very quiet. It's warmer. You can tell the EQ is added back into it, but it's extremely low level. Like this has to be cranked, not damping, but cranked. And this has to be cranked too. So it's almost like the line output is sending phono level with EQ. And then I switch over to the phono output, which is bypassing the built-in preamp, and I get a very loud but very thin sound. Is that bizarre? It's almost like it's wired backwards in a strange way. Okay, I got rid of the headphone amplifier, the recorder, all that stuff. I just brought out some powered speakers so you can hear what I'm hearing. Right now, these are connected to the turntable directly. The turntable is set to line level output. And listen, it's there, but it's very quiet. Here, I'll hold it up to the mic. Very, very quiet, although it does have that warmth to it. Now watch when I switch to phono. This should be much quieter. Phono should be the quieter.
Who's prepared to pay the price?
So somebody tell me why phono is loud, line level is quiet, and then in the middle, if I go to Bluetooth, I just get some signal noise. So back to line level, quote unquote. So yeah, I think that, yes, I did have a mistake yesterday, but the reason why I said it that way just by feeling around and listening is because this sounded like it was line level, whereas the line level in actuality, there's almost no signal coming out of it. So this show is taking a bit of a different turn. So yeah, that's a problem. That's a major problem, and therefore adding external preamps probably isn't going to do anything. But you know what? Just heck it. Let's go ahead and hook up an external preamp. Just for sake of completeness, I'm going to try that. It may blow up one of my preamps because I feel like that's a line level signal. I don't think that that's phono level like it's labeled, but we'll just try it. If this is getting confusing for you as much as it is for me. Okay, this is becoming more and more like a fever dream. Okay, so now we have an external preamp. I've got the P10 from Crosley. This is a cheap preamp. I didn't want to risk blowing out one of my nice tube preamps. So I'm going to use this one, Sacrificial Lamb. And it is currently still set to line level. Now, normally you would never feed a line level signal to a preamp because the preamp's job is to take a phono level and raise it to line level. In this case, I suspect that they're swapped or something bad is going on because what's labeled as line seems to be sending the very low, quiet signal. So to test that theory, let's drop our needle. So that's interesting. So clearly that is a phono level signal in terms of amplitude. But it's got a nasty buzz. I don't know if you can hear that buzz. Listen to this. I'll put this closer to the mic. So it's got a nasty buzz. It does sound warmer. Like I said, even when it was quiet, it sounded warmer. But I'm going to do this for the sake of you guys, but check this out. So we put it back on. I'm going to switch from the quieter, strangely, line level to the much louder before phono level. To be good and do the things you should. You give up everything. So I didn't do that very long because, you know, I'm going to blow out something doing that. But yeah, so the mic level is blasting a line level signal with no EQ curve thrown back in. That's why it sounded thin, and the line output is sending a mic level signal with EQ put in. It's completely wired wrong. Never seen this before, but it's completely wired backwards. Not that it really matters at this point, but because you asked for it, I'm going to do it. So we're going to test the anti-skate as well. Now, I have to throw out there, this could be an issue with this particular one. And there's no reason why this shouldn't sound good if it was wired correctly, but I'm just reviewing the one in front of me. So for anti-skate, just a refresher. So by nature, a tone arm will want to pull towards the middle, and you don't want that to happen because it puts pressure on the cantilever and can make one channel louder than the other, as we saw also in the sound test yesterday. So the anti-skate applies an opposite force to neutralize it so that the stylus just rides completely neutral in the middle. So to test that, we've got a flat disc, and I'm going to lower the stylus. It is spinning. Let me put something on for you to see that rotation. It's hard to tell with a white flat disc like this. This is just the back side of a white platter mat. And I'm going to lower this down. Once I do, it should stay stationary if the anti-skate is factory set. There was no adjustment here, so we weren't sure if it had one or not. Some people said it probably is factory set, and it looks like they are correct. So this is, anti-skate was not one of our issues, okay? So that is riding there. It is perfectly neutral. Let's test in a couple different positions. Oh, it does pull in from the outside a little bit. And then if we go in, it stays neutral. It went too far in. It shut off the auto stop. Okay. So yeah, it's still pulling in a little bit. That's tough to say. Is that really anti-skate that is working, or is that just the amount of movement that the lack of anti-skate is bringing upon this system? So, all right, guys, there you go. Was not expecting any of this, but it was interesting anyway, right? All right, my friends, and that is going to do it. A major bummer. I don't like it when a turntable doesn't perform as well as I hoped it would. And it was a major bummer. It's such a beautiful turntable, but obviously there are issues. And again, it could just be this particular one. The next one off the line could be fine. We'll have to see what the reviews look like as it sort of proliferates in the community. Would be very interested in doing another follow-up down the line with another example of this product, because I think it's got a lot of potential. There really isn't any obvious reason why it shouldn't sound as good as it looks. Anyway, my friends, that's going to do it for today. Thank you for your support. Happy record hunting, and we'll see you next time.